Hi there and welcome to another few videos on playing around Thetford, and we've got the first few holes we're going to play with a fade or a slice today, because that's where we've had a few questions come in. How do I play this hole? How do I play that? What about these trees? And from the questions I'm assuming that you've got a fade or a slice. So we'll play 2 or 3 holes. We're on the second hole here first of all. So let's say we've got a slice, which means the ball for a right hand is going to move left to right. And I know in previous videos I've talked about where you aim is so important, and we've got to assume if we hit the slice or fade that's what the ball is going to do. Now how you stand on the tee is very important visually for what you see. So I'm just going to grab the camera. Okay, so we grab the camera, and if I stand here you can see how it opens up the left hand side. So that's a good place to aim if we fade it. The further over to this side, look how the hole changes. And actually, the right hand side now opens up. So if you were going to hook it or draw the ball, you'd want to peg it up on the left and aim down the right. But as we've already talked about, we're going to go with the fade or slice. So let's pop the camera back. Okay, so that gives us a good view of the hole there. So, depending on the amount of fade or slice you have, as we just saw, the gap you've got between the left edge of these trees and sort of the heather down the right hand side, that's got to be a good 60 yards. Okay, so this ball needs to end anywhere between those 60 yards. So there's no way I would aim straight, because if I aim straight and I get a slightly bad slice, then I could be in the heather in all the rubbish. Depending how confident you were in knowing where the ball was going to slice or how much, and you hit it high enough, you could actually aim over these trees. But you have to bear in mind that sometimes, and sometimes this will and does happen, the ball will go straight. So what we're going to do today, we're going to aim sort of just the left edge of these trees. If it goes straight, we'll be fine, because we'll get past them. If it slices or moves over to the right, then I've got 60 yards. So I've got 60 yards of room for the ball to end. So let's just see if we can. I'm not going to hit it that hard, so we're just going to assume that we're just going to bump it up there a couple of 100 yards. So let's aim down the left hand side. So I'm aiming towards the edge of that tree. We'll try and hit it with a little bit of slice. Here we go. Okay, so that slice, lovely. So it started left edge. I reckon that's ended right edge of the fairway. So probably movement wise, I reckon I must have had 40-50 yards on that. So we had quite a lot of movement, didn't go that high, but because we aimed and allowed for it, we've actually hit a great drive, which is in perfect position. Let's go up to there and we'll hit the shot into the green. Okay, so here we are. As I said, we've got probably another 15 yards of fairway that side and probably a good 30 that side. So from the edge of the trees, I reckon I've come about a good 40-45 yards over. I still had another 15 yards. So where I aimed, allowing for the natural shot to work, has paid dividends. Right, what we're doing now, see how far we've got. So I'm just going to sort of zap it to middle of the green. So there's no flag there, but looking at everything else, we've got about 150 to the middle of the green. Now, where this second hole catches you at is that you don't realise how much downhill it is. So if I was to hold that there, it's going to be pretty hard to see. The slope going down is huge, okay? So therefore the shot going back up into the green is still uphill. So if it's 150, I would always check the wind. I think there's a bit of wind against. Throw that up. Yeah, so it's probably almost playing 160. I reckon. Okay, so got a bit of a fade or slice now. As the clubs get more lofted, the amount of movement you're going to have, slice or fade wise, will reduce. And like what we did on the tee shot, we aimed a position where if it did go straight, we were left edge, we would have been okay. We would have caught the rough, but not in too much trouble. We'll do exactly the same here. So let's just assume the flag's middle of the green. I would always aim for the left edge of the green from this kind of distance. So if it goes straight, we still hit the green, or we're only just a couple of yards off. If it moves, then we're okay, because it's only going to move towards the flag. So it's cold today. So again, we're not going to hit it hard, we're just going to hit a soft one. So let's just assume we're just going to hit a a 5-iron in there. Nice easy 5-iron. Again, just sort of see the shape, see if we can get it on the green. But you have to remember in golf, you have a handicap. Okay, so your handicap, let's say your handicap's 18, this in theory becomes a par 5, it's not a par 4. So if you get it on the green in 2-putt, that's a net birdie, but if you make 5, that's fine. I think sometimes you try to hit shots that aren't within your capability. That's what you've got to be careful of. So depending on how good your bunker play is, you've got the bunker down the right hand side that, you know, if you don't like bunkers, try not to hit it in there. The worst position is this bunker that's 50 yards short of the green, but we should be okay. So let's just have a go. We're going to aim up the left. Okay, so I'm taking the natural shape into consideration again. Get rid of some of the rabbit poop. Okay, so left hand side. Let's just see what happens on this shot. Okay, so it's moved back to the right, and yeah, we're middle of the green, right half of the green, so we had quite a bit of movement there, but because I aim left, because I allowed for everything, we've hit the green into. Simple as that, really. Let's go on to the next. Okay, so this is the pitch mark that I've left. So let's just go through how I repair pitch mark. You've got to remember the ball's coming this way, okay, so it's squashed everything forward. So what I like to do, I always like to lift up this bit here at the back, then I sort of push that bit around the edge. If I tap my foot on that now looks almost as good as new again, and that's how simple and easy it is to repair a pitch mark. Okay, third hole. Let's get a yardage. Okay, it's about 150 to the middle of the green, 154. So again, we know you can't feel the wind here. So if you think back to that hole, the second hole, and the wind was definitely slightly against. So even though I can't feel it, I'm gonna take that as it's exactly the same. So here, you slice the ball, and too many balls go over to the right onto the mound, and if you catch the bunker, depends if you like bunker shots, again it's tricky, or you've got to go over the bunker. You probably want to steer a bit more down the left hand side. Okay, so if we go down the left and we just miss the green, you've got the bunker down the left, but it's not a deep one, it's easier to get out of than the right hand side, but you've also got all the green to work with. Okay, so let's just say that we're going to hit, we've got 150, so we'll probably just hit a, let's just say that we don't hit it that far, and we're going to hit a hybrid, okay? Just to sort of, as this will be some of the club that some of you might use. So again, so we want the ball to move, and probably this gorse bush down the left hand side isn't that bad a line. I know you're thinking if it goes straight you miss the green, but okay, if it goes straight, miss the green, chip it on 2 putts 4. That's fine. What we want to avoid is sort of the 5 and the 6s, and they're only really going to come if you carve it too far off to the right and leave yourself in trouble. So I'm going to aim down the left. Again, we don't need to hit it too hard. I'm just going to pretend we don't hit it that far. Okay, let's just see what happens. Okay, that's a great example. We've got some fade on it, but not enough. Okay, so that one there, we'll go up and we'll see where that one there's ended. It went fairly straight, which, as I said, sometimes will happen, but I'm fairly sure I've either got a simple bunker shot or we've got a chip over a bunker. It's much better off to be down the left than it is down the right hand side. Let's go take a look. Okay, so we've hit the ball over the target. I said we've come straight, and we have left ourselves quite an awkward chip, if I'm honest. We've got the tree in front of us. This overhanging tree here makes it a bit trickier because we can't have the ball to go too high. Luckily, you've got plenty of green to work with. So what we've got to do is just try to carry the pit in front of us. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not worried about the flag. Get it on the green, have 2 putts. I'd probably go for my 54 here. And all I'm going to do is just focus on the strike to carry over the pit, land it in the rough or the fringe, and it should leave me 2 putts. Let's just have a go. So ball slightly further back than usual. Come down, let's get a good strike. There we go. And that's about 10 foot past the hole. So by moving it back in the stance, what it does, it sort of will help you to strike the ball first. As you saw there, I moved it back to keep it down a bit. It rolled a bit more than what this usually would, but more importantly, I took that out of the way, which is here, and that's the way to play the shot. You might be able to bump it down in there. Let's see whether I can do that or not, to give you another option. Hang on, let's find a ball. Okay, let's try to put it on the same spot, because we are very clear. Okay, so the other option, let's say we're going to hit it down into the pit. So I'm going to try to strike it into the pit to run up and through. This might work, this might not, at least it gives you an option. So I'm going to hit it down there with probably a 5-iron, because that's quite a high slope. The ball's got to run up. So I'm just going to strike it, and we'll see. This might work, this might not, but at least if I have a go, you can then see whether it's a possibility or not. Let's hit this one. Okay, so I've hit that quite hard, and as you can see, the bank stops it because it's a very severe slope. So don't try that one, because as you can see, I hit it well, but it didn't get through. But bear in mind, these overhanging branches, when you select your club, you might have to drop down the club like what I did to my 54 when I would have hit my 60 normally. Let's go to the next hole. Okay, so we've jumped to the 5th hole because that's the other hole that people asked about. In all fairness, this is a tricky drive. You have to just realise that this is not as easy as what it is. So depending on your sanding and how far you hit a ball, a hole plays differently. So for me, Owen, Giles and some of the lower handicaps, that they hit the ball far enough. This and 12 are quite easy holes. The pit doesn't come into play on 12. The bunkers don't come into play here because we can just hit it over them. But for the majority of you, they're very much in play, and that's obviously what I think the question is about. So again, we're still going to go with the slice. Now, you probably can't carry the 2 bunkers down there. Okay, so remember what I said earlier is that you probably get a shot here. Okay, so this becomes a par 5. So try to think of it along those lines. We are going to slice it. We've got the trees down the right-hand side. So we carry them. Let's have a look. How far is it to them? Okay, so if we carried the ball 150, 160, we'll get past the trees. I know we've got some heather and gorse, so again, a couple of 100 yards, you should be fine. So the ball, we would assume, will still slice. Now, if it didn't have the bunkers there, I would aim you at the trees down the left, but we're probably going to aim for the bunker down the left. If it goes straight, you're only in the bunker, knock it out. The worst score, you'll probably make it is a 6, which is still 1 point, but you've got a good chance of a 5. And if it slices, you have to remember, visual effect is very powerful again. So it looks really tight, but we know, because you've played this hole lots, there's loads of room to the rough. Yes, it's to the right. Yes, there's rough there, but at least you can get a club to it. So let's have a go. Okay, so we've got the driver again. We're just going to try to hit a ball that sort of slices and gets a couple of 100 yards or so down the hole. So again, I'm aiming way down the left-hand side, so towards that bunker. If it goes straight, I'm in the bunker. If it slices, we should be okay. Let's have a go. Okay, so that's sliced, like what we talked about. Carry the trees now. That will be down the right-hand side, which is where a lot of you go, because that was where the question is. We'll be in the rough, and we'll see about those trees. Do we go over them, or do we go round them where the pit is? Let's go take a look. Okay, so here we are. So we've carried all the trouble. We've come over to the right-hand side, like what we said. Direct line, we've got the trees in front of us now. When I come out here and I watch some you play, I see the 3 and 5 wood coming out, and you're aiming for the trees. If you're going to hit over them, well, that's not going to happen. Okay, we need to be realistic about this. So we need to avoid the trees. I haven't got the best of lies, and again, if you made 5 here, the majority of you will be quite happy with that. So what we're going to do, we're just going to see how far those bunkers are up there. Okay, so 140 yards to those 2 fairway bunkers. Now, what I want to do is hit a shot up there that takes them out of play. Okay, so if I hit a shot towards them, put me on the fairway, I've then got a nice clear shot onto the green where worst comes to worst, you'll make 6 and that's still a point for most of you. So 140 yards. Too many people go, okay, with 140 yards, let's say, for argument's sake, I don't know, for some of you, it's slightly uphill, there might be a 6-iron and you hit a 6-iron, then what happens is you crunch it, you hit the best 6-iron ever and you go into the bunker. So for me, I suppose it'll be an 8-iron today, it's a bit cold. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to drop down to a 9-iron. And not only that, I'm only just going to play sort of a pitch shot. I'm not going to hit it that hard. I'm just going to hit a 3/4 one. I'm going to knock it out there, get it onto the fairway and look forward to hitting the next shot. So let's just have a go. Okay, I'm going to aim for the middle of them, that's fine. Just try to get a decent strike. Okay, so you see the club got stuck because we're in a hole, and as I said, that's perfectly laid up, short of the bunkers, and we'll have a shot from there onto the green. Let's go see where that one's ended. Okay, so here we are, perfectly short of the bunkers. If I'm honest, probably 10 yards too close to them, came out a bit faster than what I was expecting, but because I thought sensibly, took them into account, we're short, we've got a nice easy pitch to the green. Now, you don't always have to go with your most lofted for these shots. You've got so many options here. Let's see how far we've got, first of all. We have 65 yards, okay? So we want the ball to end 65 yards. So if it was me, I would hit my 60, hit it in there, land it sort of 60, I suppose. 62 yards, hopefully about that. It will take a jump and then stop. But we're going to look at different options here. We could just pitch it up towards the front of the green and let it run. That's not a bad option. Or if you have a favourite shot from this kind of yards, then hit that. But if you go lofted and you miss-hit it from this distance, a lot of things can go wrong. So let's just go with a, I don't know, let's sort of go with a, let's go with a pitching wedge. Okay. So a pitching wedge is not a club that I would use, but I think this could be a good option for you. All we're going to do is just look to pitch this to the front edge of the green, and then from there it'll take a bounce and just run up and through. But the good thing with a pitching wedge, let's go with a 9-iron actually. So the good thing with sort of a 9-iron, if you miss-hit it, it's still going to run and do a half decent job for you. So therefore you should be able to hit the green. Okay, so we're going to pitch this one just short, and again, we're going to aim up to the right because of the slope. So let's have a go. So just short of the green if we can. So we've hit that, just short. That's run up. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, it's rolled to about, perhaps I will play this shot. Looks like it's rolled to about 6 or 7 feet from here, and how easy was that? Even if I'd have mishit it, it still would have got onto the green. So, whether you're left or right-handed, I know I've shown you for right-handed, if you've got the slice or fade, work it out, work out where you're going to aim, work out the movement, think sensibly around the golf course. If you're in a bit of trouble, lay it up, put it onto the green. Remember, you have a handicap, and a handicap means you get shots. Use them. The more you use them and think about them, the better scores you'll shoot, the more chance you've got of reducing your handicap. Good luck. That with a 9-iron bump and run from 60 odd yards, we managed to hit it within, I said 6 or 7 feet, I'm wrong, that's more like 4 feet. There we go, it's that easy.